Hello, Internet. Today is April 20th, 2015, and on this day, in 1990, Fire Emblem was released for the Famicom in Japan. It means this marks today as the 25th anniversary of the series' birth. Now, I thought, I'm just going to show off my collection for this video, and I'm just going to talk maybe a little bit about my own experience with the series and how I got into it. So I'm going to do the most cliche thing possible, and, well, it's obvious. Most people over here in the States and the rest of the world found out about Fire Emblem through Super Smash Bros. Melee. And in all honesty, my experience with this was one of the very first video games I had ever played as a kid, so outside of some of the Mario characters and, Pikachu and the other Pokemon, I really didn't know who anyone else was. So it made me want to go out and seek out some of the other games these characters are from. Then I found games like F-Zero, Kirby, Metroid, Metroid Fusion to be exact, and Earthbound, which I really didn't like until I was about 12. I guess I just really didn't like RPGs. But the one series I was asking for as a kid was Fire Emblem, because I was interested in these Marth and Roy characters. And I was asking for it back in 2002, which, at that time, no game had come out outside of Japan. So the first game I actually played was the Sacred Stones, which I cannot remember how I got it, though. I think I may have picked it up at a yard sale or something, but I was a little bit confused as to who are these Marth and Roy characters, and I never did find out from that game. I really do like this title. And then as a Christmas present, later in 2005 or 2006, can't remember which one, I got Path of Radiance, which is probably one of my favorites in the series, and probably the best console one we've ever gotten. And I really can't say much about it, though. It's just a really great game. And then, a couple years later, actually, this is the very next year, I finally found the first Fire Emblem that ever came out in the US at a yard sale for, I think it was about $2. Yeah, but what a deal. This is probably my favorite game. The entire series. Actually, really, it's my favorite saga is the Alive Saga, which is this game and its brother game. I don't know if it's a brother, sister, whatever you want to call it, but the other game, which is actually a prequel to this. I believe the name is Fuen no Tsurugi, but it's pretty much known as the Binding Blade over here. Strangely, though, if I just wanted to bring this up, if you ever played Smash Bros. Brawl, it'll always refer to Mosho no Naozo, or Mystery of the Emblem by Mosho no Naozo, and it will always refer to Fuen no Tsurugi as Binding Blade, so maybe at some point they were considering bringing it over here, but as I've played it, and the gameplay differences between this and that are a lot, and it was probably a lot too much work to bother fixing all those mechanics, and they decided just to release Sacred Stones instead. So, in all honesty, there was a point in time where I did get out of Nintendo, and, I was trying to act all grown up. But the last game I had played was Radiant Dawn, which I really don't consider to be one of the good ones, though. It's really, really freaking hard, and if you don't know, this is the first game that's been localized that really didn't have any actual changes made to the gameplay or stats, so It is the exact same as the Japanese version, and not to mention they kind of lied about the difficulties. See, in Path of Radiance, there was easy, normal, and hard. And if you don't know, easy was not in the Japanese version and made specifically for the international audience. This, however, actually, I want to write this. They removed Lunatic, is what they did. They removed Lunatic from that. So in here, they renamed the difficulties from normal to easy, hard to normal, and lunatic to hard, which itself is kind of lying. And not to mention, there is a bit of a glitch. I'm not sure certain copies are glitchy about it, but if you played on easy and decide to transfer your save file from Path of Radiance to Radiant Dawn, it will glitch up your game quite a little bit. Now, this is something I've only heard, though. I think I played on normal, so I wasn't affected by it, but that's it. And in the past, maybe about 2-3 years ago, I decided to start collecting some of the Super Famicom games, which is how I got this. And I got the other two games. I do not know the Japanese name for Genealogy of the Holy War. And just luckily 3ACS 776 happened to have the, 3ACS 76 has the same name in English as it does in the Japanese name. Oh, okay, they share the same names. I have a little bit of a funny story with this game. Now, I don't have... Okay, so I got this on eBay for a good price. I don't want to disclose it, but what happened is when I got my package, I had ordered both of these from Japan in the same package. Now, when I originally opened the package, when I was talking to the guy through eBay, I accidentally used the English name for Genealogy of the Holy War. It said Genealogy of the Holy War. And he must have gotten them mixed up, and I accidentally got an extra copy of Mosho no Naozo. Now, what scared the crap out of me at first was they were packaged like this, and when I first opened the box, this is the first one I saw. Oops. Yeah, and it scared the crap out of me because I thought, oh my god, I just gave them a ton of money for super cheap games. And I saw I got this, and I was like, whew. Lucky because, well, these two are kind of cheap, and you can get them for next to nothing. And now for some of the odd, what I consider my little bit of, it's kind of odd in my collection. Now I have Fire Emblem Gaiden, which is probably the one I like the least, but it's also the most interesting one out of the entirety. Because, well, lots of little things from this game were reused in other titles, like branching promotions, which were reused in Sacred Stones and Awakening, the world map, Sacred Stones and Awakening. Just lots of little things, though. But most of these things were just kind of... Okay, it suffered from NES sequel syndrome, so that's it. That's its reason for what it is. And then we get to the DS era of the games, which strangely and very sadly, we never got the second one. And unfortunately, I kind of got out of, Nintendo handhelds and stuff when I was a teenager going through middle school because I was trying to be all cool and stuff and not be like that. So I kind of missed out on Shadow Dragon when it originally came out, and I decided to import this new Mystery of the Emblem about, I think it was last year I imported it. But these are probably some of the games I don't really care for. This one, some people really complain about its story, but then again, if you really think about it, it's a remake of a Famicom title, or an NES title, if you want to be like that, from the 1990s, and if you know anything about games from that era, RPGs from that era, like original Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, you know the stories weren't very epic and all. So I give it a bit of a free pass to Shadow Dragon. And I regret putting those up there. So I regret it, but the one thing I do not like about it is how you get the Gaiden chapters. Because you pretty much have to intentionally kill off your units to get them. As in, you have to have fewer units in your reserves than you can actually deploy. So you pretty much have to kill off people, and that's the only game I know of in the series that you have to kill off your units to unlock bonus chapters. And then New Mystery of the Emblem remedied all those issues. I mean, they really did. They added the My Unit in casual mode. And I think this would have really been the better game to localize over Shadow Dragon. And what's interesting is this is... Oh, actually, this is probably my favorite game, though, because of all the little things it added. And then we get to the latest game, Awakening, which I think its story's in the middle of everything. Like, the story's quality is, like, dead in the middle of what we've got in the US. But, I mean, the gameplay is probably the best in the series, in my opinion. It's the best in the series. So, I think I've probably sunk about 200 hours into this already. And I plan on sinking another 400 hours in the newest game, Fire Emblem If Black Kingdom and White Kingdom. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna get it as one card or two cartridges, but I kind of hope we get it as like a compilation, you know, a 2-in-1. Because I really don't want to have to buy 2 copies of the same game. But anyways, hey, it's the 25th anniversary of the series, and I just wanted to show off my collection and talk a little bit about my own experience with these titles and how much I enjoyed them. And I think I've already made this clear, but my favorite was the first one we ever got. Which I believe its name is Blazing Sword. So, happy 25 years, Fire Emblem, and hope for another 25 more.